Good morning, John Geyston here with the Martial Arts Academy, 1929 West Isles, right here in Springfield. Hey, there's a lot of, we're in my 37th year now teaching the martial arts, and it's pretty encouraging to do what you do for a living, and having a lot of the local experts and stuff recommend our academy on a regular basis. We are literally at that stage now where I am teaching second and third generations of families, and I take that as a huge compliment in the sense that they seen development in themselves or their children earlier on, and now are recommending us or bringing back their own children, their grandchildren, and different levels of the family, right? Cousins and family like that. So, one of the biggest things is we have a lot of doctors, pediatricians, psychologists that recommend our academy. And today I was going to kind of really focus on more on children development. And they recommend our academy on a regular, consistent basis. And I'm very, very complimented by that when that happens. A lot of it is, there's so many different things going on with children today, right? And so if you as a parent, you might have a child that is just bursting with energy, or you may have a child that you watch and you can see that they're an introvert and they just don't fit in socially when they're in a social crowd. So there's so many different attributes. Some children don't fit into sports today, and we definitely have a need with childhood obesity, and there's a need for fitness, and there's less of that now offered in the schools. And even those who are athletic are usually developed physically in just one area. So so many things that we get recommended for to help in child development on so many different levels. And me personally, I believe that martial arts is the greatest thing that you can do for a child. And why? Well, it was given to me as a child, and many of the instructors that I know locally and around the world are in that same boat. They are a product of what the martial arts did for them, right? So martial arts can go a long way in developing lifelong attributes, and I say this constantly. We hope that your child never has to get out of a choke, or ever have to block a punch, or ever have to defend themselves physically. That we arm them with the right tools, yes, to do all that stuff, but more importantly, we recognize them how to de-escalate situations and recognize them early on through verbal and self-control and projecting a body. But the other areas that are so often more common in the development of a child are the parts that many people do not recognize or do not understand. And that was what I wanted to kind of focus on in today's talk here is, if you come in, the physical skills are going to be there. But do we really want a child to have to get out of a headlock or anything? We hope that it never happens, right? And the reality of it is 20 to 30%, smaller percentage in children, but maybe 20 to 30% of even adults have only been in a situation where they've had to defend themselves. So 60 to 70% could say, oh, well, martial arts isn't useful. No, it's 100% useful, because every day you need focus. Every day you need self-control. Every day you need these other attributes that are there, right? We need physical health and well-being. We have a huge adult program, and I think one of the reasons of that is because there's people seeking that other part as well, right? So let's talk about this. And I'm going to, right off the bat, let me give a gift to you parents right now on one of the things that we do, and then you can start using at home right now. And that is teaching a child the difference between discipline and self-discipline. And as we sit with a child, we will tell them that discipline is when we have to be reminded what is right and wrong, right? So for example, Jimmy comes home from school and he drops his backpack right at the kitchen counter, kicks his shoes off, drops everything at the door, goes off and goes back to playing games or whatever it is. You have to remind him, hey, Jimmy, you don't put your backpack, you don't put your shoes there. Your shoes go back over here by the coat hanger, coat rack, the closet, whatever that is in your house. Self-discipline now is for Jimmy to recognize right when he does it that he needs to take the responsibility to do that. He knows, he's heard it, he's been reminded. So how do we transfer that back to him? Well, that's self-discipline. We transfer that, and in our school, and this is something that I want you to try to use at home, is what we call the one rule. So rather than you remind him, Jimmy, that dot, and saying it over and over and over and over and over, you know, my wife is very good at that, is to simply say, Jimmy, what's your one rule when you come home from school? We transfer that reminder to him so he takes and accepts the responsibility to move that and do that himself, right? So it's transferring that, and we work with parents all the time that even if you're having a struggle, we want to be your partner in helping with that. So you come to us, and we have our mat chats and our reward systems above and beyond just them earning their belts for the physical skill, and this is one of those areas that we most commonly use. So I hope that you find value in that, the difference between discipline and self-discipline, and how you can transfer that to your child, right? Physical side, I said just a little while ago, not every child fits in on a sports team, and obesity rates are rising high, and there's so much value, or I'm sorry, not value, well, there might be, in video games and different gaming now, but the kids are so focused into that area when they come home, because if you don't fit in on a physical sport team, you automatically start disqualifying physical activity as something that's something that brings value to you, or something that you're capable of doing. So this allows a child to develop and understand the importance of fitness and health and well-being, and that's going to carry in life. And can we cut that down right now? You know, we run an adult fitness program, and we have people coming to us that are just unhappy with their physical life, their physical well-being, and couldn't we head this on early on as children, right? So even if they are athletic, there's things like hand and eye coordination, flexibility, and mobility of joints. And a lot of times when a child might be one sport specific, they're not developing well-rounded. So, you know, physical fitness attributes are there. So far we've talked about discipline versus self-discipline, physical fitness and attributes, regardless if they're athletic or not, or are involved in a team, right? You kids that are, we see it all the time, kids that don't, that struggle, right? And focus and concentration. So some kids just have trouble focusing on task at hand, and their minds are everywhere, and they have trouble focusing and staying in tune with what's going on in the classroom, and there can be a lot of reasons for that. But here at our academy, we have focus drills right off the bat that we usually work every day. Matter of fact, we have focus anchors that we use when we break the class from one segment to the next segment of drills and techniques. So we're always focusing and anchoring them back in to the instructor. And we'll sometimes commonly do that even if we're not switching drills, when we see that a child might just be losing the interest and disconnecting from what's going on. And we believe pretty much that focus is like a muscle. So as a parent, if your child does 10 push-ups and adds 2 push-ups every day, and does that for a month, your child's going to get stronger, right, and develop the muscle areas that a push-up does. Well, much like focus, teaching these focus anchors and having them take these focus anchors at home will do the exact same thing. So focus is just like a muscle. The more that we practice a focus with a child and add that into their daily routine, as we do in our martial art classes, and give you some of these tools for you to work with them at home, that's going to develop just like they would in muscles by their push-ups and different things. So again, it's the working on all these different things. Focus is a muscle, and we can develop it by practicing on that skill development, and we do that on the mats. And we have some things to help parents, our own parents, that we offer them and help them be able to increase that with focus practice at home, right? So we've talked about discipline, self-discipline. We've talked about fitness, regardless if they're athletic or not. We've talked about focus. Listen, some kids simply are not extroverts and have trouble fitting in socially, and you can get that same child, and you ever had that child that you can connect with, and man, they'll tell you everything, they will babble, but right when they get into a group setting, they step back. And we want to make sure that we teach them that they just might need a little bit to figure out how to anchor into that social environment on what value they bring to the group and their self-value, or listen and engage. And involving them with other kids that are like-minded activities, such as the martial arts, is a great way to edge them towards that opportunity of learning how to fit in socially, because now they're working in a group setting, right? Self-control, much like the focus. One of the things in our lockup position is that we make our kids hold their hands on their knees. And one of the reasons why we explain this right from the very first week in martial arts is the more that a kid's hands are wandering around, the more they touch and feel, pretty soon, like, what's that hole in my pants? And now all of a sudden, squirrel, right? Everything is passed. So self-control can also then help us maintain our focus. So these two things often work together, but sometimes they just need the self-control that they're not allowed to put hands and touch. In some children, especially those that are on the spectrum, don't know how to communicate verbally. So a lot of times their communication is holding and touching and grabbing, right? And then that's their way, especially in the developmental stages of a child very early on. In the 4 and 5 year olds, they don't know how to say to the other kid, hey, how was school today? Was reading great? What was your weekend like? So their social is to hug that kid or grab that kid, and that's their excitement. They don't mean harm by it, but at the same time, we want to let them know how to take control of themselves so they're not doing these things. And I hope that makes a lot of sense. Confidence. Hey, the biggest thing out there is I read this years ago, and I haven't followed up with this, but I'm assuming that it's the exact same thing today. Kids hear things. Kids have kids ridicule them. Kids they don't fit in. Kids have kids that make fun of them. Confidence is the lowest level for a child that it's been in a long time, because kids just say things that they buzzkill, they zap. If you ask a kindergarten kid what they want to be when they grow up, or what do they want to do in this world, man, they're dreaming big. President of the United States, astronauts, doing these great, amazing things. Ask that same child in 3rd grade, and you're going to see that there is a huge decrease in the beliefs of what they can achieve and what they want to be. And why? Well, that same kindergarten kid was around mom and dad, and was around family members that encouraged them to dream big and believe in themselves. And from kindergarten to 3rd grade, now when they mentioned those things, they were laughed at, or they seemed failure, or now they were graded, and that labeled them. So now we started to decrease and pull away what a child can achieve in life, and their confidence and their dreams and everything starts to settle. And we as a society start looking for mediocrity, And one of the things I even tell my adult students, average is as close to the bottom as it is to the top. We always want to be aiming high. Aim high. Fail often. This is what we teach at the academy, and through the martial arts, but we also provide a very positive and encouraging environment that teaches a child that they bring value, that they have greater value, greater potential in themselves than they understand. So we want to create those environments, right? So confidence, self-control, focus, working in a social environment, discipline versus self-discipline. I hope these are so many of the attributes beyond the punching and the kicking and the self-defense and is kung fu better than karate? Is taekwondo? Here's the reality of it: martial arts is great for every kid. I believe it's great for every person, and this is why this is what we focus on with our academy. Our academy tag has always been empowering lives through the martial arts. We develop that person because at the end of the day, we want to give your child the life skills that they're going to carry with them for the rest of their lives into their teens, when they're dealing with peer pressure, unhealthy peer pressure. And if they already have belief in themselves, they have the self-confidence, they have the self-control, they understand it's okay to walk away and say no, right? Kids, as I tell my children, you are liked by who you are, not by what you're doing with the kids. Makes sense? So we want them to have that when they're facing that unhealthy peer pressure as they go into the teens, or they go into college, they go into adulthood. These gifts are theirs for the rest of their life, and they carry on to their children. And me, that's my mission, that's my work, that's what I want to do in empowering lives through the martial arts. So I hope that you found some value in this today. I wanted to talk about that because I think so easy today in the entertainment business. That's what it is, entertainment business. Cobra Kai, these things that we're watching, the movies, is always focused on a kid. Sometimes there's a great message, but it always still surrounds itself with physical activity and violence and fighting. And we do have to be prepared to defend ourselves, but more importantly, we have to be prepared to be a success in our life, happy, living dreams, reaching for dreams, and having the confidence, the self-control, the focus, the self-discipline to do all that. Hey, if we can be of any help, feel free, parents, to reach out, direct message me, and let me set your child up with 2 free classes so you can experience if it's a fit for you or not. But we're here to help. And there's a lot of great martial arts schools locally in the region, throughout the communities. If you're not in the Springfield area, reach out, because these attributes are amazing for everybody. Hey, I appreciate you all, and I appreciate you tuning in. I hope if you just came in, you can back up and listen to this. And if you find value in this, do me a favor, share it with somebody else. But remember, the attributes of the martial arts is much greater than just the physicality. And these are gifts that your child's going to carry forever. Thank you very much. Make it a great day, and I appreciate you all.